Peace and blessings to everyone. Glorious rising. How are you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you are a new subscriber, we welcome you. To all of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your continued love and support. Guys, all of my information can be found in the description box below. I am only bookable through the link in the description box below. I am not on WhatsApp. I will not seek you out for a reading or any other services. And I am not affiliated with any orphanages or organizations over in Africa. I want to jump into this because I feel like this is a message that someone needs to hear on this morning. It's not going to resonate for everyone. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And I'm going to try to take my time with it so that I can articulate it clearly. But it is coming fast, so forgive me in advance. I apologize in advance if it isn't clear. But listen, let me explain something to you guys. The enemy attacks you or attacks us, right? The enemy attacks us where the enemy knows that it's going to really get our attention, right? The enemy will attack you where you experience your greatest weakness. I don't know if that's the right way to say that. The thing that brings you the greatest amount of stress, the thing that you worry about most, that is where the enemy will attack. For example, when the enemy attacks us in our finances, it is because when we are worried about finances, right, that creates a great source of stress, right? And you can be so stressed out about money or a lack thereof or not being able to pay a bill or whatever that it completely robs you of your joy. It robs you of your happiness and you become completely obsessed about, like, filled with worry and obsessing about this bill, this money, etc. Well, the enemy knows that. And so if that is your case, your finances will always be the main point that the enemy hits, because the enemy knows, okay, if I want to get next to him, if I want to get next to her, if I want to steal, kill, and destroy, where do I hit them? Let me hit them in their bank account, because that is what's going to cause the most disturbance. That is what's going to cause the greatest amount of worry. Does that make sense? Um, and it's the same thing when we are attacked in our health, when we are attacked in our relationships, right? It's the same thing. And so, how do you get the victory? Well, I know it's so much easier said than done, and it's something that I've had to work on myself, right? But for one thing, it's knowing that no matter what you see with your physical eyes, no matter what you see going on around you, it's believing. Believing that if your spirit team brought you through before, they will bring you through again. It's believing and having faith in what the Most High God has already told you, right? It's knowing that God does not lie. God will not lie. And the enemy is coming to try to convince you of something totally opposite of what God has already said. And so it's holding on to what the Most High God has already spoken to you. Okay? It's recognizing that you have power and authority and dominion over your physical reality, right? Because God's spirit dwells inside of you, you have that piece of Him. And because of that, you have power and authority. And so it's understanding that these entities, these spirits, these unclean spirits and entities have no power and authority over you. And it's a matter of taking your power and your authority back. Well, how do you do that? Well, you have to know the truth. Demons hate truth. The enemy hates truth. And so when the enemy sends you a negative thought, for example, you have to combat that negative thought with a positive thought. You combat the lie with truth. Does that make sense? It's also knowing and understanding that um, when you know who your source is, when you know who your source is and you believe in that source, you will not fall for tricks of the enemy. And so it's like a combination of all of these things. But I want you to understand that wherever the enemy is hitting you the hardest, wherever you feel that the enemy is hitting you the hardest, it is because that is an area that you need to work on taking authority of. Um, that is an area where you need to work on your faith. And you need to make it so that the enemy can no longer use that particular thing to toy with you or to mess with you or to steal, kill, or destroy anything in your life. So again, if the enemy attacks you greatest in your finances, it is because this is what's going to bring the greatest amount of stress to your life. This is what's going to distract you. This is what's going to take your focus off of your purpose. But what I challenge you to do is to believe truth, and also, as hard as it may be, don't allow yourself to be distracted. My grandmother used to tell me, baby, when you take care of God's business, God will take care of your business. Okay? That is something that I've held on to all of these years because it is something that I have found to be true. My grandmother was a very wise woman. And so I urge you to think about this. And again, it's not always finances. Sometimes it's the relationship. Sometimes it's the marriage. It's the household. It's the kids. Sometimes it's health. Because if you're so focused on what's going on over here, you're not as focused on your divine assignment, your divine purpose. You're not focused on walking in it in spite of. You understand what I'm saying? And that is something that I feel all of us need to work on moving forward. Working on not having these weaknesses that the enemy feels that, you know, you can trample on, right? Now, that doesn't mean that the enemy won't try to attack in some other way, but it's growing strong in spirit, right? Spiritual development. It's growing strong in this area, um, to make it a little more challenging for the enemy. um, Understand that you are a formidable opponent. You are God's chosen, his warrior, and you've been equipped with the full armor. And so, sometimes we have to stand and fight for truth. And so, always, always, always remember truth. What is true? What is true is that because the Most High God is your source, because he is your shepherd, you lack nothing. Because he is my shepherd, I lack nothing. That is what is truth. But the enemy will come in and, you know, try to attack you and have you think or believe something totally opposite from that. And so, recognizing tricks of the enemy, not falling for tricks of the enemy, using discernment, and recognizing the illusion of a thing. If it is not the truth, it is a lie. And we know that the enemy lies. Okay? I don't know who needed to hear this message this morning. I hope that it is clear. I hope that I articulated it in a way that it can be understood by those who need it. If it is not for you, it will probably go right over your head. But those that it is for, it is my prayer that it reaches you and that it is articulated clearly enough to bring some understanding. All right, guys. Peace and blessings to all of you. I love all of you. Until next time.